I think that Kevin Durant can go down as the greatest scorer in NBA history. And I sincerely mean that. I think that I'm talking about number one. I'm talking about a greater scorer than Michael Jordan. I'm talking about a greater scorer than Kobe Bryant, a greater scorer than I don't care who you're. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's a scoring machine. He's 6. I don't know if people have stood next to him. He is a legitimate 6'10". Okay? He's got a handle. He can pull up from 30. I know the three-point line says 19. Kevin Durant can pull up from 30.
Kevin Durant has turned into the ultimate nuclear weapon. He has turned into the greatest mid-range jump shooter I have ever seen.
Like, he is the most unguardable human that's ever been created from an offensive standpoint. Can shoot, can dribble, can pass, can drive, can do everything. And right now is literally the prime and the pinnacle, I think, of his career.
Two of the main three things, in my opinion, that makes Kevin Durant the best player in the NBA is that he is the best scorer in the NBA and one of the top 2 most efficient perimeter scorers in the league as well. What makes KD the most potent scorer in the NBA is that he's 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan, and his scoring arsenal is unmatched. He can hit you from the 3, the mid-range, inside the paint, posting up, and breaking you down in isolation. There's not one player in the league right now who can collectively do all 5 of those things better than Kevin Durant. Now let's look at some of the statistics of some of the best scorers in the NBA. Now as we look at the statistics of Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden, we can see that they are very proficient and efficient from scoring from all 3 levels on the court. But while they may have a higher 3-point percentage than Kevin Durant, mainly Steph Curry and slightly James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, at the mid-range, in the paint, and in the restricted area, Kevin Durant is far more efficient than all 3 of them. Now many of you are thinking, how could Kevin Durant be the best scorer in the NBA when James Harden has been putting up almost 40 a game and KD hasn't even been top 5 in scoring in the last 3 years? To answer that question for y'all, let's look at their per game stats. James Harden has been going crazy over the past 3 years, averaging 30, 36, and now this year, 38. Statistically, he is the greatest scorer in the NBA, especially over the past 4 years. But in all actuality, when you watch the games and dive into the stats, you can see that James Harden is still second to Kevin Durant in terms of scoring. I believe this because while James Harden is averaging more points than KD, he's also shooting way more shot attempts and has a lower efficiency than KD as well. As we look at KD's field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, 2-point percentage, and free throw percentage over the last 3 years, we can see that he is shooting at a higher clip than James Harden. And many of you James Harden fans right now are probably saying that Kevin Durant doesn't shoot as many shots as James Harden, that's why his field goal percentage is higher. Well, let's look at when KD shot over 20 field goals a game during the regular season and the playoffs, just like James Harden does on a regular basis. Now let's look at the 2018 season when he roughly shot around 20 shots per game. He averaged around 30 points, shooting 45% from the field, 37% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line. But as we look at Kevin Durant's 2014 season, one of only 2 seasons when he actually shot over 20 field goals a game, he averaged 32 points a game, shooting 50% from the field, 39% from 3, and 87% from the free throw line. Those are extremely efficient numbers, far more efficient than James Harden's. Now, if y'all wanted even more recent numbers, let's look at the playoffs last year. James Harden averaged around 32 points a game, shooting 41% from the field, 35% from 3, and around 84% from the free throw line. Those are decent efficiency numbers and great scoring numbers. But let's look at Kevin Durant's. In last year's playoffs, KD averaged 32 points a game, shooting 51% from the field, 44% from the three-point line, and 90% from the free throw line. Him and James Harden averaged around the same amount of points, but KD shot less shots and was higher in his field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, 2-point percentage, and also his free throw percentage. We tend to forget how great of a scorer KD is because he plays with the loaded Golden State Warriors and he doesn't get as many shot attempts as he normally should. But when he's able to unleash offensively like he did last year in the playoffs, KD is the most unstoppable and best scorer in the NBA. Another thing that makes Kevin Durant the best player in the NBA is that he is a great playmaker for his position. There was a time in Kevin Durant's career where he was only looked at as a great scorer. But over the years, he has evolved into an excellent playmaker for his position. He's now initiating the offense more and making plays for his teammates and also making his teammates look better. I feel as if KD's playmaking has made him a much better player is because now instead of him forcing a contested shot and being tunnel vision, he's now seeing the floor better and hitting his teammates for an even better shot than the one he could have taken. As we look at KD's assist numbers, we can tell early throughout his career that he was getting around 2 to 3 assists per game. But as his career gradually went on, he started to get around 5 to 6 assists per game. As we look at his assists compared to his peers at his position, KD regularly ranks at the top 3 and even number 2 at times in assists per game at his position. Another thing that has made Kevin Durant the best player in the NBA is that he has made himself into an elite defender. Over the last 4 years, Kevin Durant has turned himself into an excellent defender, as he's versatile enough to guard positions 1 through 4, and he has turned himself into an excellent weak side shot blocker. As in the year 2017, at one point, he was leading the league in blocks per game. Just so my viewers can get a feel of how great of a defender KD is, let's look at some of his stats. He ranked in the 80th percentile as an isolation defender, averaging 1.1 steals per game. That is almost elite level. Let's also look at his post-up defender, as he ranked in the 71st percentile, and he was also one of only 24 players in the league to average 2.5 blocks and 1 steal per 100 possessions. Now let's look at some of KD's interior defensive stats. Out of 77 players who have defended an average of 4 shots per game within 6 feet of the basket this season, KD ranks 28th best among the 67. That is about the same as Marc Gasol and the perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate Anthony Davis. It's KD's development as a rim protector and an interior defender that has made the biggest difference in KD's defensive impact and reputation. And the last thing that I believe that makes Kevin Durant the best player in the NBA is his ability to impose his will on a game. What I mean by imposing his will is, what is Kevin Durant's ability to be able to dictate if his team wins or if his team loses? What is his ability to be able to take over a game? I believe Kevin Durant is the best player in the league at imposing his will on the game, taking over a game, and dictating, can his team win the game or will his team lose the game? For example, let's look at the 2018 finals in Game 3. Clay and Steph were having terrible games. They combined for only 21 points that whole game. But Kevin Durant went on a tear, scoring 43 points, getting 13 rebounds and 7 assists, imposing his will on the game and willing his team to a victory. Let's even look at last year when they played the Clippers in the first round. The first 2 games, Kevin Durant combined for only 22 points and 6 turnovers per game. He claimed he was playing within the system of the team, which he really was. But Kevin Durant decided, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to impose my will on this game, and I'm going to will my team past this round. Kevin Durant, the next 4 games, went on to average 41.5 points and willed his team to victory. When Kevin Durant decides to take over games, like in the 2017 finals and in the 2018 finals and in the first round in the 2019 playoffs, there is nobody on this planet who can stop him, guard him, or slow him down. He is that lethal of a scorer, and he is that lethal of a player. Kevin Durant is now the best player in the NBA. I hope y'all enjoyed my video. Like and subscribe, and I'm out.